Hello TvAgro, my name is Salomon Keynes, manager of Calyx Exotic Plants. We are producers of bromeliads and marketers of all kinds of plants throughout Colombia. Today I would like to talk a little about a very nice plant, very exotic, that we have in our country. And this is the Tillandsia cyanea. I am going to talk a little bit about what it is, the Tillandsia. It is a type of bromeliad. But they are bromeliads that already have too many species. And it is almost another family, however they are still a bromeliad. Like bromeliads are epiphytic plants, i.e. air plants, they grow on trees, in nature. In our case today I would like to show you how beautiful is an ornamental plant like this type of Tillandsia. For its different colors and its different leaves. The leaves of the Tillandsia cyanea, this one in particular, are very elongated and a little pointed. They do not grow so much. This type of plants and with this coloring generally belongs more to a jungle, to a place a little more humid. There will be other Tillandsia that will have another type of coloring. That also has to do a lot with the thermal soils where they develop. Just like the bromeliad, because it is a bromeliad, the Tillandsia will bloom once in a lifetime. What you are seeing here is not really a Tillandsia, but it is several Tillandsias that are together, and that is why you can see how there are two pallets with their exotic purple flower. Each pallet represents a plant. We can see here. We are going to take it out so you can learn how it is done. We plant our Tillandsias and everything with the rice husk. Why? Because the Tillandsia sucks water is here in the center, in the cistern. When the water falls inside our crop or something to the soil, what we are looking for is that there is really a fast drainage of the water and it does not stagnate. Because our Tillandsias can be damaged by too much humidity. The topic of using rice husk is more to hold them and that there is drainage but not to suck the nutrients. Because the nutrients are sucked is here in the middle. When I take it out, as I told you, you can see that right there are two Tillandsias that come out, and you can see here inside. They start to grow many children, the growth of the Tillandsias, especially these cyaneas. This type of Tillandsia cyaneas, we call them Tillandsia's paradise, and as you can see the growth of the children is here and it is very slow. Then part of the exotic of the Tillandsias, and that gives it value, is its long growth. Here where you see it you can be a Tillandsia of 5 to 7 years, if it develops from seed, that from seed, they start with a little hair. However, as I mentioned, they also have their offspring. These offspring, as they grow, one can separate them from the mother. One can separate them from the mother when they are a little bit taller than the mother. This can take between 1.5 years to 2 years, and the blooming in many cases comes out naturally or is accelerated through different mechanisms to give bloom. A little more about the care of this beautiful Tillandsia and what one can do to be an epiphyte. Apart from water here many times in spray, preferably once a week. Also it is necessary to keep in mind that it does not like the direct sun. Many of our exotic plants really are of interior. What is the ray of the direct sun burns them? nevertheless if you can have them outside as long as you have shade. What can be done with these Tillandsias? Apart from putting them as we see here very nice, this type of Tillandsias, when one takes it out, what you can do for example is to try to tie it to a tree. If you tie it to a tree, the tree is very nice too, as an ornamental. One can use the Tillandsias in different ways. You can put it on trunks, on stones. You can even stick it with silicone or other type of glue that does not damage the plant to different surfaces. As it can be a rock or some other decorative object that one can make. Tillandsia cyanea is very dynamic in this sense. One of the things that differentiates this type of Tillandsia is its color. Both its palette and flower. As you can see, the flower of these Tillandsias is purple. It is divine, with the green and with this pink that's sometimes more intense. Depending on the type of Tillandsia cyanea, it can be more intense, paler. It makes this plant more exotic and beautiful to decorate the different Colombian homes. I would like to show you a little of the different varieties of Tillandsias, just so you can see what this wonderful world is like. As I was saying, this is a type of species. This is Tillandsia cyanea in specific. For us this is paradise. Within this world there are different, but the Tillandsia cyanea is characterized by its long and green foliage and a palette that generally takes pink or purple tones and neither a spectacular flower. This flower does not last so long, unlike the palette. The palette can be lasting from 3 to 6 months, even much more. It depends on the location, depends on the care that is given, and the flower can be lasting a maximum of 15 days and it still does not do well. I would like to show you, for example, this is another type of Tillandsia, so that you can see how different it is. This type of Tillandsia, like the cyanea, has its pink bloom, and this is a cacticola. As you can see, it has a different green tone, also some hairs. This is because it is from a different type of climate and its care is very different. This is another type of Tillandsia. As you can see, this world is very large, it is very nice. Look at this plant, so exotic and so different from what we are used to seeing as plants. We also have Tillandsia, so, as Tillandsia in general is a very. There are Tillandsia is large, however, if they take their good time to grow, even more than 7 years some. Finally, the last Tillandsias that I wanted to show you before going a little bit into more to the Tillandsia cyanea, is this Tillandsia. Look how nice it is, the different types of Tillandsia, and as this we are already talking that there are hundreds of species. Now I would like to show you a little of the care to be taken inside our Tillandsia cyanea, which, like a bromeliad, has a very special care. But it is not difficult to care, not at all, because simply a good location, you can remember to. Once a week give them some water. In this case it is better to spray it with an atomizer instead of a glass with water, because they are plants, in this case the Tillandsia. Its cistern and everything is smaller than a normal bromeliad. Now, what happens when one of our leaves or something is drying, or is the tip is already burned and we want to remove it? One thing that we can do, and that works with many bromeliads, is, instead of pulling the leaf, what we do is we try to break it in half, so. that when we are going to take it out of here, it is broken in half. It can go one side and the other one to the other side, and that makes the plant much easier to remove, and you don't have to stress it or anything, giving it hard or cutting it with scissors. When you do it, you will see that it comes out very naturally, one and the other for each side. Also, what happens when the flowers of this Tillandsia dry or wither? Many times what happens is that they stick to the palate of the Tillandsia. If one wants to give it a more aesthetic touch or something as they dry or something like that, if it is better to remove the flower so that it does not stick here, as we can see in this case, and that the palate is rather clean. In general, the Tillandsia is a very exotic bromeliad. The Tillandsia cyanea is one of my favorite plants of mine, for its tones. I would like you to follow us on social networks. Enter our page at www.calyxplantas.com and learn about this type of plants so beautiful that have our country, which will feed all homes, offices and hotels, where you put this type of bromeliads. Tillandsias so exotic we have. Thank you very much.